Good morning to you, my friends, wherever you may be in the world today. Clements here from Maui, my podcast Livestream, as I see it. Just a very brief introduction to a very important conversation happening tomorrow, August 8th, 2021, 9:30 a.m. here from Hawaii. Many of you watched my conversation with my guest last week. He will be on again tomorrow. Mr. Stephen M. Shore, also known as Raj Agni. A crucial conversation. This gentleman is a multi-talented, I use the word frequently for him, savant. An herbalist, an alchemist, a psychic intuitive healer, a scholar, an author, a translator of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras with commentary, a gifted, kind-hearted gentleman, highly informed. And we're going to have a conversation like we did last Sunday, but again on this Sunday, tomorrow. I really invite you, bring your friends on in solidarity at this moment. When authoritarianism is ripping around the world, we're going to do what we can in the hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, as long as the battery lasts on my phone, to courageously, intelligently unveil facts from fear and fiction. Now, I know that's a bold statement, especially today, where it looks to me, in my humble research over the last week and yesterday and all morning today, that we're in a form of, how would I call it, free fall, if you will, around the world with information and data, the medical community, the institutions that are telling us about vaccines and their efficacy, governments worldwide. It is, I dare even use the word, it's a cluster FUC, CCCC, pandemic. And it's sheer madness right now. I don't know how someone could ultimately, without due diligence and with high reasoning, really drop in and look at the information from the fiction, from the doubling down on authoritarianism around the world in governments, medical professionals, to understand what to do, how to understand it. We're all in this together. We want to save our lives. We want to save our body. We want our autonomy. We want to live. We want to breathe. We want to love. We want to travel. We're all in this together. And so tomorrow, August 8th, 2021, here from Hawaii with Stephen M. Shore, myself, in a dynamic conversation about the pandemic madness, unveiling facts from fear, truth from fiction. And let me just take a couple of more minutes here. May I invite you, please share this intro, share the post that I put up here on my Facebook page, in my story on Instagram. Invite your friends to come join us in this dialogue. Right now, all of us are needed to rise up in our investigative, deep inquiring, our mindful intelligence to discern what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, what not to do, and the efficacy of the vaccinations. And I have a lot of research that I'm going to bring tomorrow. I know that Stephen will bring the same level of research and perhaps even more. He's dedicated his last 2 years to this, along with his entire life with the therapeutics and herbs. I'm going to bring my revolutionary resistance, my inquiry, my dialogue skills, and try to bring as much information together to the surface so that you can discern for yourself what's true. What's gone down in Sydney with the with the Australian army being deployed onto the streets of a city of 5 million people to enforce a mandatory lockdown. Melbourne, again, going under mandatory lockdown with 6 or 7 cases. In France today, the cities are swelling with resistance, nationwide protest to the mandate of mandatory vaccination. Just pause, let me just say a few things. Many of you know that I've been diagnosed with a heart ailment that is quite fatal if I don't go or undergo a dangerous medical procedure, open heart surgery. That came to me April 11th when I was in Los Angeles. The point being is I spent a lot of time in the highest, most prominent medical institutions in America, some of them at least, UCLA and Santa Monica, with some of the most prominent doctors, meeting cardiac nurses. I spent a good portion of 3 months in hospitals and clinics, and I asked many questions. Of course, it was during lockdown and for the COVID, and I asked doctors and nurses, will you take the vaccine? This is before the data was coming in on the downsides and the complications from microclotting and various other things. We're going to get into that tomorrow. And I heard in pretty much across the board, most doctors, most nurses that I talked to were saying, no, we will not get the vaccine. We're medical professionals. We're not anti-vax. We're just we discern data clearly. Now, many of you know in California, it's mandatory now that frontline medical workers, nurses, some of these doctors that are attending to me, mandatory vaccinations or forget your career. I'm being told, or what I've researched, you can corroborate it for me, in Spain there are places where doctors who refuse to participate in vaccinations are being, you're losing your profession, you're even being put into, the attempt to put into mental wards. And so we are in a radical, revolutionary state of mind on a global level. And it's ironic to me, in Burma today, August 8th, 1988, decades ago, a commemoration today in that country and around the world of those people who died, some 2, 3, 4, 5,000, some say upwards of 8, 9, 10,000 were mowed down at close range by a dictatorship, authoritarian, totalitarian, militant dictator, and the running dogs of that dictator. And here we have it going global today, a doubling down on authoritarianism. So it's not just vaccine or non-vaccine or vaccine hesitancy, but it's the bigger issue for me is the attempt of authority to invalidate the beauty of being a human in life today, which is to thrive and to create and to live in our liberties, in our human rights, in our right to put what we want in our bodies, what we want to say, our conscience, our dignity, our health, our mental health, our spiritual well-being is under assault. And so, yes, it's a passionate topic. There's so many notes that I'm going to take. I'm just going to bring them up tomorrow. I'm going to close here today. I'm getting longer than I really anticipated. May I encourage you as a final note. August 8th, tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., here from Hawaii, on my live stream as I see it, with my guest, Stephen M. Shore, we will have an intimate, passionate, informed, intelligent conversation about pandemic madness, the unveiling of facts from fiction, truth from lies, as much as we can humanly bring forth in the hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, or however long we go, There's no limit. May I encourage you, bring in your friends, bring in your digital tribe. We're going to offer a unique perspective of the power of the therapeutic herbs, how to increase your protective response to the virus. It's how our bodies deal with the virus that determines the severity of the illness or our immunity to it, the anti-inflammatory response that we can bring through therapeutics, through herbs. I've got my own ivermectin that I'm going to start today. These are all becoming mainstream information. Dr. Anthony Sociopathic Fauci is pivoted in the last couple of days. It is crazy to see the pundits of privilege and profit and the way in which they go about the machinations of their idiocy and their sociopathy. It is just pure insanity what is going on in the world today, in my own country of America. And I encourage you to encourage your friends, to encourage me should I lapse. It is time that we speak up, rise up, overcome our prejudice, find the data, find the information. And with Stephen Shore tomorrow and myself, we're going to lay out some facts from fiction and get down into a juicy conversation on the pandemic, the madness, the free fall that we're in. And may I encourage you to join us tomorrow, August 8th, 1988, 9:30 a.m. here from Hawaii on my Facebook live stream and uploaded to YouTube, Lisbyn, Apple, Google, and SoundCloud. So from my heart to yours, have a beautiful day, a wonderful day, and may I encourage you to activate, and hope to see you tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. from Hawaii. Thank you.